Good evening. Tonight we delve into a story that blends political theater with the stark realities of immigration policy. It's a tale of ambition, alligators, and a rather unusual approach to border security. If you've ever thought America's immigration system needed more teeth, perhaps a more reptilian edge, you might find the latest development in Florida quite intriguing. The debate around immigration has always been heated, but this takes it to a whole new level. And actual alligators, because apparently the Sunshine State's natural inhabitants are now part of the national security strategy. It seems the local wildlife is being unofficially deputized in the effort to deter illegal immigration. Your wish has come true, or perhaps your darkest satire has become reality. The line between political statement and outright spectacle continues to blur. Former President Donald Trump has unveiled his latest project, a project that's already generating controversy and raising eyebrows across the political spectrum. It's a bold move, even by his standards. A migrant detention center in the Florida Everglades, a location as symbolic as it is strategically questionable. The choice of location has sparked outrage from human rights groups and environmental activists alike, nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz. The name itself conjures images of inescapable isolation and lurking danger. Yes, that's the real nickname. You can't make this stuff up, folks. The moniker has already gone viral, solidifying its place in the annals of bizarre political branding. It's a blend of cartoonish villainy, the kind you might expect from a Saturday morning cartoon, but with very real-world implications, and Florida's natural misery. Think oppressive humidity, relentless mosquitoes, and, of course, the ever-present threat of becoming alligator lunch. Trump toured the facility, naturally, with all the pomp and circumstance befitting a reality TV star turned politician. With Florida's governor and Kristi Noem both eager to bask in the reflected glow of Trump's spotlight, it was a photo op of epic proportions, presenting it as a bold innovation in immigration enforcement, a game-changer, they claimed, a solution to a problem that has plagued the nation for decades. The idea? Simple, yet somehow diabolical. Turn a swamp notorious for swallowing planes and occasionally the unfortunate pilot into a state-of-the-art security solution. Because nothing says cutting edge like a razor wire fence surrounded by gators. The White House is leaning into the fear factor, amplifying the inherent dangers of the Everglades, using the swamp's dangers as a deterrent. A natural barrier, they argue, more effective than any wall. The message, loud and clear. If you come seeking refuge, if you're fleeing persecution and seeking a better life, we have a special place for you, a place where the welcome mat is made of razor wire and alligator teeth. Where the wildlife is as unwelcoming as the policy. It's a harsh message delivered with a distinctly Floridian flair. This isn't just policy, it's a statement. It's performance art, a carefully crafted spectacle designed to send a message, both domestically and internationally. Staged in a subtropical wetland. The Everglades, once a symbol of natural beauty, now a backdrop for a political drama. The logic, well, that's where things get a little murky. Why fix the system with all its complexities and challenges? When you can build a gulag with a gift shop? It's a cynical question, but one that seems increasingly relevant in today's political climate. And yes, you guessed it. The Florida GOP is already selling Alligator Alcatraz t-shirts, because what better way to show your support for border security than with a catchy slogan and a menacing reptile, and beer koozies. Keep your beverage cold while pondering the ethics of immigration policy. They've managed to monetize human suffering, turning a complex humanitarian crisis into a revenue stream, turning a potential human rights catastrophe into merchandise. It's a disturbing trend, and one that raises serious questions about our values. It's late-stage capitalism meets Dante's Inferno, a fiery combination of profit motives and moral decay. A brand synergy that's profoundly, deeply American. A chilling reminder of the lengths to which we'll go in the name of security and profit. So where exactly is this paradise of punishment situated? Where does this facility, so ominously nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz, actually exist on the map? The facility sits at the Dade Collier Training and Transition Airport, a location that might sound more like a gateway to freedom than a place of confinement. But in reality it's 37 miles from Miami, a distance that feels much greater when you consider what lies in between, deep in the Everglades. A location chosen, no doubt, for its isolation and the natural barriers it presents. The Everglades, a vast subtropical wetland, a unique and fragile ecosystem unlike almost any other in the United States. Teeming with alligators, the namesake of this grim location lurking beneath the murky waters. crocodiles, their equally formidable cousins sharing the same territory, and invasive pythons, a relatively new but rapidly growing threat to the native wildlife, adding another layer of danger to the already perilous environment. The nickname isn't just branding, it's a warning, a constant reminder of the dangers that surround this place. The White House boasts about the isolation, touting it as a key feature of the facility, and dangerous wildlife, emphasizing the inherent risks of the location, using fear as a psychological deterrent, hoping to discourage any thoughts of escape or resistance. There's only one road in, a single artery connecting this isolated outpost to the outside world, amplifying the sense of entrapment, reinforcing the feeling that there is no easy way out. The climate, relentless humidity, a thick suffocating blanket that hangs heavy in the air, hurricane threats, a constant looming danger during the storm season, and tents with round-the-clock air conditioning that's no match for Florida's summer, a futile attempt to combat the oppressive heat. Thousands will be housed in temporary structures, vulnerable and exposed to the elements. Right in a hurricane path, a decision that seems to defy logic and common sense. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Nature and policy colliding in the worst possible way, a recipe for catastrophe. This isn't just a detention center, it's more than just a place to hold people. It's a sci-fi movie script come to life, a real-world experiment in human endurance set against the backdrop of a primordial swamp. If you thought the alligators were the only security, think again. Alligator Alcatraz is fortified like a supermax prison, 200 security cameras, 28,000 feet of barbed wire, and over 400 guards. Every inch is under surveillance, privacy is non-existent, and the message is clear. You're not a resident, you're an inmate. The guards outnumber most small towns' police forces, ready for unrest. The final touch? The only way out is a one-way deportation flight. This isn't a processing center, it's a deportation pipeline. For those sent here, the American dream ends on a remote runway, drowned out by jet engines and despair. The cruelty isn't a side effect, it's the point. This isn't just a Florida experiment. Trump wants Alligator Alcatraz to be a national model. He envisions similar facilities across the country, turning remote wastelands into high-security detention centers. Kristi Noem urged other governors to get creative. Imagine Scorpion Gulch in Arizona or Blizzard Bastille in North Dakota. Florida's GOP has embraced the branding, selling merchandise and turning the facility into a symbol of pride. The implications? A shift from community-based alternatives to mass incarceration in hostile environments. By celebrating Alligator Alcatraz, Trump is mainstreaming a policy designed to dehumanize and inflict suffering. The beer koozie isn't just tacky merch, it's a symbol of how cruelty becomes marketable. This is a race to the bottom, with human dignity as the casualty. Who's paying for this swamp fortress? Taxpayers, at a staggering $450 million a year. That's $90,000 per detainee per year, enough to fund legal aid, community support, or humane asylum processing. Instead, we're investing in a high-cost, high-cruelty experiment. The funding comes from FEMA's shelter program, money meant to help migrants, now used to detain and deport them. Construction was rushed, bypassing environmental reviews and public input. 5,000 people will live in tents, under constant surveillance, waiting for deportation. The speed was strategic. Build it before opposition could organize. It's a monument to wasted money and performative deterrence. Proof that cruelty is expensive and our government spares no expense. Not everyone is thrilled about a tent city in the Everglades. Environmental groups have sued, arguing the project was illegally rushed without required reviews. Billions have been spent restoring the Everglades. Now, a massive detention center threatens to undo that work. The facility will generate waste, pollution, and strain on resources, all in a uniquely vulnerable ecosystem. It's all the problems of a small town, but with none of the planning. The lawsuit pits aggressive immigration policy against decades of conservation. The outcome could set a precedent. Can protected lands be sacrificed for political theater? There's a deeper human dimension. The land is the traditional home of the Miccosukee and Seminole people. For them, this isn't just a swamp, it's sacred ground, a place of refuge and identity. The facility is seen as a desecration, another chapter in a long history of disrespect and dispossession. Indigenous leaders warn of pollution, disruption to wildlife, and threats to their way of life. Their opposition is rooted in a worldview that sees land and people as interconnected. The protest is a call for justice and respect, drowned out by construction and politics. The consequences extend far beyond detainees and the environment. They strike at the heart of cultural survival. The opposition is growing. Protests lined the only road to the facility. Environmentalists, immigration advocates, indigenous leaders, and human rights activists have united in outrage. Their concerns, lack of oversight, risk of abuse, and the facility's isolation turning it into a black box. Florida's hurricane season adds another layer of danger, thousands in tents, one road out, and no clear evacuation plan. The protests are about more than logistics. They're about the soul of the nation. Alligator Alcatraz is seen as a moral stain, a symbol of calculated cruelty. The coalition's message: this is not who we should be. Even in the face of overwhelming force, people are standing up for what's right. Imagine the year is 2025. We're engaged in heated debates, grappling with complex issues surrounding immigration policy and border security. The news is filled with arguments, proposals, and counter-proposals, each vying for public and political support. And at the center of it all stands a controversial project, a detention center infamously named after a notorious prison and a fearsome predator, Alligator Alcatraz. The name itself conjures images of confinement, danger, and a system seemingly designed to instill fear. Alligator Alcatraz is more than just a building. It's the grotesque endpoint, the culmination of a series of decisions and policies. It represents a political logic where cruelty isn't an unintended consequence, but the very objective. It's a system where the suffering of others is not a bug, but a feature. The design, the location, the very name, all point to a deliberate strategy of inflicting pain and hardship. Consider the resources poured into this endeavor, nearly $500 million a year, diverted from other crucial needs. Emergency funds, desperately needed for disaster relief, are instead funneled into this project. And the location itself, a hurricane-prone swamp, seems deliberately chosen to maximize the discomfort and vulnerability of those detained. All of this, the money, the location, the very concept, is used to detain people, often in conditions that fly in the face of our stated values of justice, fairness, and human dignity. The facility is a physical manifestation, a concrete and steel testament to a dangerous trend in our political discourse. It embodies the rhetoric that dehumanizes migrants, stripping them of their individuality and reducing them to mere statistics or threats. When you consistently call people an invasion, when you portray them as a horde descending upon our borders, it becomes easier to justify treating them not as human beings deserving of compassion and respect, but as enemies to be contained and controlled. Alligator Alcatraz is what happens when this kind of thinking takes root, when abstract metaphors are translated into the harsh realities of barbed wire fences, constant surveillance, and the deprivation of basic human rights. It's a symbol of performative cruelty, a calculated display of toughness designed to appeal to a certain segment of the electorate. It represents a willingness to sacrifice fundamental principles and even protected lands, vital ecosystems, all in the name of projecting an image of political toughness and unwavering resolve. The irony is palpable. The real danger isn't lurking in the murky waters, it isn't the alligators themselves, it's the insidious acceptance that this kind of treatment, this level of dehumanization, is an acceptable way to treat other human beings. This is a monster of our own making, born from fear, prejudice, and a willingness to compromise our own values. And this monster is far harder to contain, far more dangerous than any reptile lurking in the swamps. The question that hangs over us, the challenge that we must confront, is this: will we allow this monument to cruelty and dehumanization to define who we are as a nation? Will we let it become a permanent stain on our collective conscience?